Welcome back to Everything and the Gym. I'm your host, Shelby, and today I have. Who are you?
Preston Wimberly.
And what do you do?
I am an entrepreneur, I guess. So I own San Angelo to Go and College Hills Bodega.
Yeah, I. It's been a long time coming, your episode. I have been in talks with you, I feel like since season 1.
Yep.
It's just been.
Maybe even before. I think we kind of talked a little bit before it, and we were like, when it was, I don't know. I think it was about to be set up.
Yeah.
But
You
yeah,
were
I kind
actually-
of ran up on you.
Yeah, so you were actually one of the first people to ask me about the podcast now that I'm replaying it back.
Cool.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. And then it was like, okay, I want him on.
Well,
and
Dio was my trainer, and I had kind of seen you around the gym. I kind of saw some of the stuff you were doing, and I like stuff like that's on the cutting edge in San Angelo. So
Yeah.
I kind of try to keep my eye open.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're here. Okay, so how old are you?
I just turned 32.
Okay,
So May 8th.
all right. Let's kind of dig into, were you a fitness person in your teenage years?
Yes, so I started with football. So I think I was thinking about it as I was looking over and trying to think back in my history. I started with football, and it wasn't great. So, I started at 8th grade and then 9th grade, so 13, 14 years old. And I was doing it to, bulk up to play football, but without much real training. It was a lot of chest every day.
Yeah.
If you could imagine. So it was one day you go in and do chest, and then the next day you're going to do incline. And
Yeah.
so it wasn't a lot of just super thought-provoking understanding, but also, back then there wasn't quite as much information. It was a little bit harder to get the information. You had to find someone who was a professional, and typically the professionals, I grew up in Dallas, in Richardson, Texas,
yeah.
so the professionals were also kind of, I remember this guy, Turtle Shell. He was he was all about back. So it was he was just I'm gonna work out back all the time. And then so that's kind of, I wasn't getting a good, well-rounded perspective, and it wasn't a lot of, what's this gonna do to your body? It's just let's get bigger and then let's do it for power for football. So.
So you did football in high school. Did you do football in college?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what brought me to San Angelo.
Okay.
So I graduated high school in 2010, and I came out here on a athletic scholarship. I played defensive end for the Angelo State Rams, but I'm a little short and I wasn't quite fast enough. And ASU's pretty solid. Division II, the Lone Star Conference is pretty serious. So I got redshirted my freshman year, and then I played a little bit my sophomore year, and I think that was kind of the extent of my football career of semi-professional.
How grueling was that on your body?
Oh yeah, it's just everything about it, from you pretty much had Mondays off, and then every other day was 6 a.m., and your whole day was scheduled around it. So you'd wake up at 6 a.m., film, then you'd go to class all morning, and then you'd go to lunch, and then you'd get out of lunch, and then it was 1 or 2 o'clock. You had to go to practice till 6, and then you went and ate, and by the time you're done eating, it's time to do a little study, go to bed, to wake up at 6.
Oh my goodness.
So going out on your own as a 18, 19-year-old, pretty, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
you have to stick to a strict schedule, and I think that was good in some ways. I was pretty good at it. I guess it helped me realize how, time is, and kind of how to structure your day around certain things. So I actually, like I said, I quit my sophomore year and kind of just focused on studies. But then I was realized oh man, I have so much free time. But
Yeah.
I kept it up. I kept working out after that.
Why did you stay in San Angelo?
So I was in the honors program at ASU, and I just, I had a lot of opportunity there. I was able to go on some trips. I had a good GPA. I actually did apply for transfer, and I turned down like I grew up in a single parent household, so I had the FAFSA and had pretty good grades, so I was gonna have a full ride to SMU, and I
Where's
turned
that?
it down. Yeah,
Where is that?
Southern Methodist University in Dallas.
Oh,
So I thought that was what I was gonna do, and with the financial aid and then the half scholarship, I would have had a full ride there. But there's something about St. Angelo that I love. There's something about ASU that's like the small school feel. There's something about that real experience of learning that stuff and not just kind of plugging into what the world, doing what the world would expect you to do, or to like, just going and getting a 2-year degree there wouldn't have been the full college experience. There's no way you could have made the friends and kind of made the connections and got the real world experience in such a short period of time. And I went on to be, I was the president of the Honor Student Association, and then I was president of student body at ASU. And so those two things kind of combined, and then some of the cool opportunities I had with ASU to kind of just travel and see some firsthand experiences were kind of where I wanted to focus.
so when did you graduate college?
I graduated in 2014. So I think, it's right now it's my 10-year anniversary.
So what did you graduate with?
I studied political science, so I thought politics was pretty cool, and I did that, minor in philosophy, and so I thought I was going to go to law school.
Oh,
But again, it was kind of the same. I think the year that I was looking to go was very like everyone was going to law school, so I looked at it, and the debt and everything kind of was like, oh yeah, do I want to do that to go then be a grunt working hard at a law firm for the next 20 years to pay that off? And so that's kind of, I like to zig when everybody's zagging.
Yeah.
I try to keep pretty true to that, because following the crowd just in general typically, it gets you somewhere, but it doesn't get you where I'm trying to go.
yeah. So how do you go from wanting to be law school to whatever whatever it was you graduated with to owning San Angelo to go?
Okay, so I started San Angelo to go with my two best friends from junior high. So we all graduated. I came out here to play football. They went up to Kansas, a little school called Ottawa, to play football. And so we had always talked about starting businesses. That was pretty much what like our high school days were about. Was like, hey, what does this do? Like, how do you start a business? Like, we wanted to kind of be free from the boss telling us what to do, and we wanted to work together and be able to kind of create something that's our own. And so that was always just kind of in our DNA. We were always like, all right, let's do this. So we probably, thought of 1,000 businesses when we were in high school. Obviously, we didn't have the opportunity to try to start our own. We all wanted to go to college and kind of figure that out, at least get that as some kind of like a base. But so we did that, finished up college. One of my business partners ended up coming down to ASU to finish out his business degree here. I went on to work at Kane Electric. It was just a little like electrical supply. I was in a management training program. My idea with that was like, I'm going to learn about business. I'm going to learn what it takes to really run one. It's a huge company, but the local Kane Electric is run pretty, it's got a manager, it's got the financial person, that has a salesman. So I could see how everything flowed in the management training program. Kind of taught me each one of those steps, because it's kind of setting you up to run a store. So once I learned that there's no like secret, and when I was in college, I thought there was some secret that was like, oh, this is what's they're hiding from us when you get there, and that's how you do it, and it's a magic. But no, it's all what it looks like. You just got to kind of put yourself out there and do it sometimes, and make it work. Hard work and staying positive are really the two like key factors of making a business work in the beginning. And so once we realized there wasn't all this red tape stopping us, we kind of just went full in. So as he graduated his senior year, Carson, we started our delivery service, and we had just seen it in a couple other markets. We knew, food was, this was, before all the big ones were, they were only in the major cities like San Francisco, Dallas, and stuff like that. So we were like, well, people love food in San Angelo. Like, we could drive around this city pretty quick. Let's get to it. So that's kind of, we got the software built, and then we just jumped straight into it, started trying to make relationships with a bunch of different restaurants. If you could imagine, it was pretty tough
Yeah.
here in the beginning.
We've had this conversation before. You've told me this story. How many times, you said there are multiple places that you had to go to multiple times, right?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, in the beginning, it was kind of, people thought we were making it up almost. Like, why would we deliver? Why would we do this? And I was like, it's another channel of, or, I didn't know what I was saying at that point. I was just like, well, this is the business we're starting. We want to work with you. We think people like your food. We think they're going to like it at their house. Take a chance with us. And so we were able to, probably took 30 or 40 restaurants for us to get our first 8 or 10 restaurant delivery services or restaurants signed on. So that was the hurdle there, is like, why would we even do it? And so, but there was always something, to be honest.
You gave me some really good advice whenever I was doing my sponsorship hopping. You told me not to do too many too close together.
Yep.
For the reason being that when people tell you no, it like pretty much dives on your
mental.
Yeah, and I thought about that every time I go hand out sponsorship letters, or I'd go talk to somebody. I'd be like, okay, just a handful or just this one today.
Yeah.
It was great advice.
Being intentional with it is very important, and that's kind of what I try to do with a lot of the people I do business with or work with nowadays. Is I kind of start scaling up into more businesses, different businesses. Is I try to pick the people that I want to work with intentionally, just because it is a grind right there in the beginning, but you have to do it. I think that's the starting stage of any business, is you got to grind through that to find out who your people are.
So how long did you work? Whenever you started San Angelo To Go, were you working another job?
No. So we quit, or I quit, and I was about to go into the big salary. I was about to get the 6-figure salary, and it was. And then my, one business partner, he was working in San Antonio, and the other one was just graduating college. But I was about to get that 6-figure salary, and I was like, yeah, I guess you got to take a chance for this stuff, because if you get the 6-figure salary, that's where they get you locked up in the matrix, is kind of what I call it sometimes. And so I was able to get out before then. I bought a house right when I graduated with my salary, so I had a house payment to pay for. So it's pretty, I was jumping out on a limb on this, but again, it was something we had talked about forever. So it was like, yeah, let's go for it. And so we worked 10 to 10, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day for about a year. And so that's kind of the, we would do the deliveries, we would dispatch the orders, and then in the slow times, I would go try to talk to restaurants about getting signed on with us. And so that was kind of the path that we took. So, it's, and like you're saying, the grind of it is pretty tough sometimes. But,
Yeah.
It was fun. I loved it. I was doing it with my 2 best friends that, since 8th grade, and so, people say don't do business with your friends, but again, I don't know who else you would do it with personally, just because those are the people I trust, with my life, with everything. So, it's cool. It has changed the relationship some ways, but, that's just growing up is really what people are talking about when they say don't do business with your friends, is that, you have a lot of dreams and ideals that you want to work on when you're younger, and you don't know exactly what the real world's like. And I think as you grow up, that's the hard part, is if you're running a business with your friends that you had all those dreams and ideals with, that it's hard to kind of merge those new worlds as you continue to grow. But I think, they're more like family than just friends for me. So we were able to figure it out.
When did you guys get your first employee?
So the first employee was hard because it's like, do you want to hire him? And actually, Johnny Adalpe, I think, was one of our first guys. So it was friends. I'd worked at Cork and Pig, going through college. A lot of our first employees were guys that we had worked with at Cork and Pig. Johnny, and then we hired about 4 or 5 people right there off the bat. But it was still close friends, because they're the only ones that you know that could, you could trust. And then I think it was about 4 or 5 months in, we started in October, so I think it was like in February that then we hired our first staff of not randos, but just random, we hired people, but it was kind of handpicked. It was I met this guy Ruben in the Wingstop line, and he's like, oh, I like what you guys are doing. I kind of talked with him there, and we're like, hey, you want to come work with us? And then Ben and Olivia, one of my good friends, he was my roommate in college, Nate. So it was a lot of hand-picked. Mm-hmm. It wasn't this interview process where we're weeding out a bunch of people. It was we all found a couple people that we thought kind of fit the mold. Mm-hmm. And in the early days was fun. It was we had the Nintendo 64, and we're in there in the office playing before the orders, because it wasn't that busy. Yeah. We had a little office, so everybody come in there, play some games, and then get dispatched out. Mm-hmm. So.
And then COVID hit, right?
No, so we started in 2015.
All right.
So we've been in business. We're coming up on 9 years now.
So what happened when COVID did hit?
So COVID, that was the one that turned it into overdrive. I guess I had actually seen COVID. Twitter and stuff. I saw these Chinese cities shutting down. I'm like, what is this about? You don't just shut down 12 million people and it's not it's in a little deal. Mm-hmm. I had no idea. I didn't even think in my head, oh yeah, this is gonna benefit food delivery. But yeah, as it started kind of coming in, we watched it. It was San Antonio. Some of the first cases were right around here. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it went into overdrive. Restaurants were shut down. We do about 150 to 200 orders a day right now. Right now, but we were probably doing 400 orders during the height of COVID. So
that's crazy. Was that hard to do?
Oh yeah, but just the staff is huge. We had probably again about double the drivers. We have about 50 or 60 drivers now. We had about 100 then. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was pretty wild. And at that time the world was different during COVID. It kind of felt it's hard to explain. It was just a different world. It was kind of shocking. Everybody's in a post-traumatic stress area.
Feels like a different lifetime.
yeah. And it made time go by fast. That's what I realized too. But, so it was just, a lot of the bartenders and a lot of the service industry kind of got laid off, but we were able to hire them. Oh. So that was kind of cool. When they lost their income, they were able to come work with us, and then they were able to, keep a steady income in the same kind of industry that they were already in. So that was pretty cool. And again, the service industry people are our friends, and we've been working with them already. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of we were able to, put the whole city on our back in that instance. And so pretty interesting.
Does because there's DoorDash and whatnot here, does that affect you guys too bad?
So I guess I don't really know. A lot of the restaurants are kind of starting to, there's some major campaigns going on right now. McDonald's is trying to focus a lot of attention towards us, just because we are, I don't know, we're just we're the local version, so we have a little bit closer connection. It's more like a unit that all works together, whereas when you work for some of those companies, you're kind of just a lone wolf out there on your own, mm-hmm. just doing your thing. And so I think that's what's been good about us, is we have a little bit higher quality of service. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it definitely does affect, But I think over the long run, we're a business that is, it's profitable, it's self-sufficient, it works. Whereas if you really dive into the numbers of some of those big companies, like they're getting funded by like,
Yeah.
major banks out of California and all this crazy stuff. So like their financials really don't work. And so they're having they're putting a lot of stress on the market. I think, a lot of the inflation you see right now is like not, I wouldn't say directly because of them, but
Yeah.
they made it to where people were able to see that you could pay more money for food, and the restaurants kind of followed that wave, I think. And so we try to keep everything menu price, and we try to keep everything a little bit more favorable to the customer, not make a ton of money right off each transaction, and kind of make it over the long run. So I think that's what the restaurants like dealing with us a lot better, at least locally.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where we just got to figure out the national piece. And it's
Yeah.
we've been in business again 9 years, and we've had like 5 or 6 other delivery services come through, like regional ones, and they've all gone out of business. One from Midland, one from Abilene, one from Louisiana, and a couple other little local ones. And that was these bigger ones now are the only ones that are I call them zombies sometimes, because they don't stop, like because they have this like funnel of money that's just getting pumped into them.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see the difference.
Yeah. So you have San Angelo to go,
Yep.
and then you have Bodega.
Yep.
So how does that one start?
So we joked about being the Bodega Boys this one time. We went on a vacation, and my friend worked at La Bodega in College Station when he went to college there. And so it's kind of just a word we joked about. It's also kind of, I always thought we were in the food delivery business. We're in the convenience business. So it's kind of like, food delivery is a thing, but it's really convenience. And so
That is true.
yeah. So at the end of the day, like San Angelo to go is like high-end convenience, whereas it's like on the other end, it's like easier convenience, more traditional convenience versus San Angelo to go, which is like the technology convenience. So it's like physical convenience, on the corner convenience, and so that's kind of it's in the same business technically.
So Bodega is a convenience store.
Yeah, it's a convenience store. So we sell, just chocolates and cigarettes and beer and wine and all the different, all convenience store stuff. We try to have a lot more up-to-date products. So we're always, we got these like gummy tacos and random stuff like that. And we're kind of starting to try to build a brand off of it. We deliver out of there. We sell these little hats out of there. It's the Angelo hat. It's kind of what we coined it. And it's when the world's upside down, the local guys got your back.
Oh.
So that's like the saying behind the hat. And so we kind of, we try to build everything we are, just building blocks, kind of build it into each other. And I think that's what makes it fun. In reality, that's like that's the goal of entrepreneurship for us, is to enjoy what we're doing.
You mentioned those hats to me one day of us talking. You're like, yeah, like those are our hats, and I see those hats everywhere now.
Yeah. And again, this was like, we saw these in bigger cities, and we kind of tried to reach out, and we couldn't even in Dallas had them. We're trying to we couldn't even buy one for ourselves. So we're like, let's go make our own. So that's kind of what we like to bring that stuff to San Angelo, because San Angelo, we don't get to people. I have a very favorable opinion of San Angelo. I think it's a lot of opportunity out here. If you work hard, you're going to be able to really, kind of create what you want, and it can stand. If you have a solid product, people are going to check it out, and they're going to keep coming to it, and they're going to, support you. I think San Angelo has a ton of support. And in big cities, they don't, it's a little bit harder to carry through with an idea. But we want to bring some of that cool stuff from the big cities out to San Angelo and make it a place that everybody wants to live, and everybody wants to kind of see that value there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the hats are about. Also, it's kind of cool. Angelo means angel or messenger.
Oh,
So I
I didn't
didn't know
know that.
that either until I actually went to Europe, and a lot of people were like, "Ooh, I like that hat," and I was like, "What?" And then like I was like, "All right, what is this about?" Looked it up. Angelo means angel or messenger, so it's kind of like it has a higher meaning to it too, and that's kind of cool. So like upside down angel or upside down messenger, which is kind of fun because it's also about creating a conversation. There's something about it that you see it and you want to have a conversation like, oh, what does that mean? That's what we get asked like all the time, and it's just again, uh, when the world's upside down, the local guys got your back, and that kind of ties back into what we did during COVID, so that
That's
we were
awesome.
able to, again, we didn't take that opportunity to go in and put our foot down on restaurants' necks and like, all right, well, you got to sign this, and
Yeah.
like you're gonna do this. But I mean, I think we could have. We talked about it, but that was not the vibe that we were thinking that we should go with. It was more like let's figure out how to work with everyone and kind of help some of these restaurants get through a tough time.
There's no, at least what I'm learning, there's not really a guidebook
Oh yeah,
on like how to go do those kinds of things.
yeah,
Like there's not a guidebook for the podcast. Like you said in the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing. Like nobody can tell you how to go run a food business or
right.
anything like that. You just kind of gotta.
And I think those are the best ones to be in. I think that's why people a lot of times say, look at the CEO and see their morals and their values and some of that stuff, because I never understood that when I was younger. I just thought that was just, junk talk. But no, it's because you get into these situations where your decisions really matter. And so it's like your morals and your values and your work ethic are going to be the cornerstone of that decision. And so like that's where the companies either go in the right direction or they go in the wrong direction. And I think that's what I've seen. I work with a ton of business owners now, all the different restaurant owners, and that's what I see across the board, because restaurant owners are everything from a guy that can make great tacos and just like whip up some good food that created a business and now everybody loves it, all the way out to like a CPA that just knows the numbers and is like, I can do this, order this, and get that done. But you deal with every different kind of person in the food industry, so it's kind of it's just kind of cool to see it.
Talking to all of these different businesses and starting up a business, have you learned anything about yourself?
Oh yeah, I think that in your question, kind of what is my greatest achievement is football player, like whatever. I had good GPA. I was pretty good in school. Like, I thought I knew everything. And obviously that is not what the real world is about. It's you can't know everything. You got to rely on other people, and like getting humbled in that situation was huge for me. And then just really like realizing that there's so much more to everything than like that you think, and you have to have a certain level of confidence to kind of go through the storm. But at the end of the day, that's not. It's more about being able to be humble and know you don't know everything and figure it out. So I think that's one of the biggest things that just being able to push the world back and then like realize, oh yeah, I don't know everything, and that there's so much more to all these situations.
It allows you more opportunity to grow.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good thing to learn too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have these businesses now. Do you have a goal for them in like 5 years? Or do
Goal
you
in
have like a
5 years.
bigger goal? Or do you have a smaller goal?
So I think we're the local guys. That's kind of like our tagline. And I think we just want to kind of keep starting up more businesses and getting into more different ventures. I think San Angelo is going to grow a ton in the next 5 to 10 years. And I think we want to help that growth stay local, if that makes sense. I grew up in Dallas, and I mean, Dallas was always a big city, but I grew up in Richardson specifically, and it's not a place that you want to be if it got so commercialized that like they pretty much sold the city out is what I would call it. And so if we can be a part of that growth and kind of be a part of ushering in the new era of helping young entrepreneurs, like, hey, this is the place you want to be, this is the place you want to stay, like, get involved in different things. And I think we want to be able to show that to our city, and then everyone, that like San Angelo's, this type of town is where you want to be, because you still have like the American dream.
Yeah.
It's still available to you. Whereas in like, again, big cities, you got a good idea, you set something up and start it, it's going to get taken away from you pretty much. It's either going to get taken away from you by something bigger, or it's going to get just like run into the ground by something. So I think that's what we like, and kind of we want to focus on that. We're going to kind of be moving into the media space a little bit, but again, just kind of more businesses. I think that's what we've like. We're starting to build a good team around us, figuring out how to like empower other people to kind of run them. And I think that's, and I mean, it's not just like lip talk or hearsay. Like, we're figuring out how, it's all about giving up that control, but giving a solid process that they can grow in. So.
Yeah. We've been kind of in works for a little while, and so it's cool to like hear you re-say things that you and I have talked about.
Yeah.
But anyway, we are going to break to a commercial to hear a word from our sponsors, and we will be back soon. Welcome to Hera Health, an innovative women's health and aesthetic clinic created, by women. Hera Health specializes in hormonotherapy, aesthetics, PCOS, peri and menopause phases, postpartum, and weight loss. Now maybe you're questioning, why do I need to visit Hera? If you are exhausted, maybe you have low libido, you have some stubborn weight to lose, maybe you have painful periods, or you just don't feel like yourself, or maybe you're looking for a confidence boost. Hera Health should be your go-to place. When you enter those doors, you are greeted by like-minded women who understand your concerns and fears. Hera Health also offers aesthetic care like dermal filler, microneedling, medical-grade skincare products, and so much more. They also offer a wellness program to help with your workouts and nutrition. You can book your appointment online at herahealthpllc.com or give them a call at 325-238-7286. Healthcare for women by women. And we're back. So we just talked about all of the business side of you. So let's hop into the fitness side.
Yeah.
You recently went through a pretty good transformation.
Yeah. So I just, again, I've had a wild ride. I've done all the protein diets. I've done all the everything. I've kind of I eat a lot of food, so I kind of just like food a lot. So I've always kind of fluctuated a lot in weight, and I mean, to be honest, it's still kind of a journey for me, honestly, just because I always find something. There's always some dessert laying around, or like I think bread is my newest thing, but yeah, I won the transformation challenge at Crunch Fitness, so I lost 40 pounds in 2 months. I went from 260 to 225, or 265 to 225, and I did it on an all plant-based diet.
Really?
Did you not know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So I'm still on that. That's like I think that's for life, actually.
What does that entail?
So I say plant-based. It was all plant-based then. I added fish because people think you're crazy if you don't eat any kind of protein at a certain point. There's a lot of restaurants. If you go eat, I'm like, yeah, give me this shrimp salad or whatever. There's a lot of places in West Texas. West Texas might be the hardest place to do a plant-based diet, if you could imagine. Beans are pretty good. So that's a lot of beans, and that's kind of like a major source of protein. And then a lot of like Mediterranean food is kind of where I've gone. And if you had told me that this was me doing a year or two ago, like I used to not even listen Like if someone was like, I'm vegetarian or whatever, I would just tune it out. I'm like, what are you even talking about? Like how is that possible? But I just feel better. Like
How did you get onto that though?
actually, to be honest with you, I've read the Bible a couple times in the last couple years, and then in the book of Daniel, if you're familiar with it, he kind of gets taken to Babylon, and he says, they take a couple different people, and they're like, hey, you're gonna eat the king's food, you're gonna be part of the king's court, and he says, if you just give me a couple weeks, I'll eat fruit and veggies, and let me eat this certain type of food, and he doesn't eat all the food that's in the Babylon, and he's stronger and more physically inclined than anybody else, and they tested in there, and I was like, why don't I go ahead and give this a try? I'm in a competition, and I'm trying to lose some weight, so that's actually where I got it. I think some people call it the Daniel fast. I think now that I've kind of been talking to people about it, but that's where I got the idea, and I was like, let's just run with it and see what happens. And I was doing that. I cut out all sugars, and then it's really the vegetarian, the pescatarian, or whatever is more. I started researching a lot about our food, and the process of our food is terrible. Like it's honestly confusing when you start looking in the ingredients of everything and not looking at it for like the carbs and looking at it for the fats and all that stuff. That's what I used to look at, what are all these macros, like let me check the carbs. Now I was like, are there whole ingredients in what I'm about to eat, or do I need to cook this? And that was actually the freeing part of what I found is like, all the process, and everything's processed at this point, like even meats, even like it's confusing because it's so commercialized where they're pumping all this food in, they got to get it pushed through a factory, and so that's kind of what I found in my research. And so I try to just stick to, they had the farmer's market going, I'd go up there and grab some farmer's market food in San Angelo and then bring that home. It was enlightening, kind of scary at a certain point, because I was like, again, I don't know why it's so processed. I think it just has to be to feed as many people as we feed. And so I think that's what I found. And not saying that I don't eat anything processed anymore. I still do. It's very hard to stick to a strict, like a real whole foods diet. But that's kind of where I want to go in the future. And I mean, as I come into, I don't have a kid yet, but as I come into thinking about kids and stuff, like I want to try to grow them up on more of a whole food style diet.
How do you get your, you said this a second ago, people ask you all the time about protein.
Yeah.
How do you get your protein source in a day? Like how much protein do you need?
Yes, I mean, I guess that's what, again, all my friends ended up going to play sports. So we had our little fantasy football draft, and they were grilling me the whole time. They're like, where are you getting your protein? Like, you got to get some creatine, da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, there's a lot of, like, nutrients on the spectrum. There's, like, 250 things that you need to get. And I think I started getting a lot more of those, so I had a little bit more, like, the aminos and stuff. But really, I get it from peanut butter. I get it from almond butter, from beans. I try to find the protein, vegan proteins. They're like pea-based, and a lot of certain veggies have more protein, and I kind of get the protein that has that. So I usually try to do a scoop of protein in there, but it is harder.
Do you track your nutrients or?
I don't. I did during the competition, so I was tracking it hard then, and I was doing 2-a-days at that point because I was trying to win. And so it was very, like, I had to stay on it really hard to be able to, like, get through the day without being too sleepy. But if you're living a normal lifestyle, I think we're maybe a little bit over proteined as a society. And
Guilty.
that's what I like. I always ask people, I'm like, Who told you we need all this protein? Because I mean,
Dio.
yes, okay, and I mean I do. If you're trying to look like Dio, like
Yeah.
dude is jacked. Like if you need that muscle, but to build muscle and to have like a normal frame and to a complete normal everyday, workout once a day and then to get through your day without feeling sleepy, I don't think we need quite as much protein. And that's just from my personal experience. I haven't, certified that, but I will certify that when I went to the doctor, I got my blood work done. They said they never seen, it's for real. Like I think the amount of meat we eat in American society is, just like everything else we do, a little extreme.
Yeah.
And when you look into other societies, they don't eat meat at the level we do. They do have servings of protein, and they have servings, but like a serving is 6 to 8 ounces, and they do it usually like once a day.
Yeah.
And so like, I used to do the carnivore diet, the protein diet. I did all the diets, and they all come with a lot of like, I don't know, I'm not pinning cancer to how much we eat, but like there's something to the fact that when people get older, their doctor tells them to quit eating meat. I don't know why. I haven't gone that deep into the research because there's so much on both sides. It like doesn't even make sense. So it's like you have to shift through the source and you're getting all that. But, when people get older, doctors tell them to cut out meat. And I'm like, well, why are they doing that? And I've had a lot of people in my life kind of, the Ozempic and stuff. Everybody's taking Ozempic nowadays, but I've had a couple, and they got diabetes and all this stuff. I've had people in my life that have cut out meat, and they get to they get off that stuff, and I think that's interesting. Again, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about it. I did it, and it worked for me.
Let's say that's your personal experience.
Right, and I mean, again, my thing right now is too many desserts sitting around, and then I like bread.
Do you bake in your free time?
Well, my wife is probably the best cook I've ever met. So
Yeah.
like she just has some random stuff sitting around, and at a certain point, I like throw stuff away because, again, I eat too much. So like, you can eat a lot of veggies, and it's not gonna it's just gonna usually be pretty good for you. So
Yeah.
I think that's what helped me win that competition. I got a free year. They gave me $1,000, so that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I get to be on the little sign.
I had, the sign everywhere.
Yeah. People in San Antonio hit me up, and they're like, "What are you doing on this sign?" And I was like, I didn't know it was everywhere. I thought it was just here.
Yeah.
They said something about it being other places, but I was like, and they didn't have any idea. They just would walk by it and were like, "Is that Preston?"
Yeah.
And then would just send me like a message on Instagram or on text me or something. So it was a fun little time.
I actually had somebody, when your pictures were up, they were like, "You should have Preston on the podcast." And I'm like, "I'm working on it."
That's fun. Yeah, no, I think, again, in San Angelo, I like to do a lot of different things, kind of get involved in a lot of stuff but I've always wanted to do a competition like that. I think they need to do that everywhere. It's just kind of fun to be accountable to something, kind of like track it and have a little community around that. And so I think that's what was helpful for me.
I have an honest question.
Yeah.
You have to answer honestly.
Okay.
Is Dio a tough personal trainer?
Yeah, I think he's no nonsense. So he's not gonna when you get to it, he's gonna critique you, and then he stays on you about it. He doesn't nag you in the moment, but over the long run, he stays on you. He'll kind of always give you the pointers. But yes, I would say yes.
Yeah.
He's not terrible. He's not mean. He doesn't come across mean, and I think a lot of them come across mean or kind of like demean you, and I think that's what people think when they think tough. But he's more like he won't accept if you're doing less than what you should. And so like, even afterwards he would come by the squat rack or the leg press or something, and he's like not even really wouldn't even ask me. He's just flipping the weight up because I think, he's got probably a good idea of what people can do just based off looking at them, knowing their past and knowing what they should be doing. So he's always going to push you a little bit more than you'd want to push yourself. And I think that's what was good about me and him. And I think, Dio, I owe a lot to Dio. He got me on track, and I didn't know what the competition was going to be like when I joined. I think I joined because I was trying to sell the C4. So we needed a supplier. So I just kind of bumped my head in there and was trying to hit up Stephanie and like, hey, who's your supplier on this C4? I see you got the big, as I'm trying to sell it in my convenience store, they just kind of cut it off of the way where we getting it. And I saw this little, the challenge there, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. So I had just, I got eye surgery last year.
LASIK?
No, retina.
Oh.
Yeah, it's actually, my left eye is bad, but I think I had a torn retina, and that's not normal for a 30-year-old, so I was coming off of that. I think they said it's because I played football, and I was like tackling people, and it was like already bad, and then so I was making tackles, and then it stretched it or something. They didn't have a good reason, to be honest. I don't know about all that, but
Wow.
So yeah, I'd had surgery, so I'd been out of lifting for a while, and I thought it was just like the perfect storm. Like I needed to lose some weight. Had been out of it a long time. I needed something to give me that extra oomph, and so that's why I ended up joining. It wasn't like this calculated move where I was like, I'm gonna win this competition. It was like random, walked in the door, and I was like, I'm gonna do this, and then so it was cool. I had a lot of fun doing that. Again, learned a lot about myself in that competition. Really transformed mentally and physically. So that was what was cool for me.
What was your biggest takeaway doing that?
It was the diet, the plant-based.
Yeah.
Again, I'd never even given that a chance before. I didn't even think again, people would talk about it and I'd be like, what are you talking about? You're not eating meat? You're what? And so for me to be able to kind of jump into that, it gave me a whole nother just view on nutrition and everything. So it was super cool. All kinds of cool stuff happened during it too. Just, I don't know, I walked in Maximus Nutrition and they had all the vegan protein bars for sale. And I was like, give me all of them. And so it was pretty cool. But yeah, that's probably my biggest takeaway was just the nutritional piece. And I mean, I always knew nutrition had a aspect in it, but again, I feel so much healthier now. I don't ever get bloated. I haven't been sitting back Thanksgiving time even once since I started, and it's opened up a bunch new, I do spinach enchiladas all the time. And again, shout out to my wife. She handles it, and she's got all these cool recipes now. And to be honest, it's easier. That's what I like about it too. It's easier. Technically, it's cheaper with all this inflation. Cut meat out.
Yeah.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
It's you go eat a meal somewhere. Usually, the vegetarian option is a little bit cheaper. So, but again, in West Texas, you gotta figure it out.
Yeah, you got to do the math.
Yeah. Armintas, I really like there. They have a choriano. You can just get cheese. So it's delicious.
Yeah. Now, cheese enchiladas. Do you eat cheese?
Yeah, I do eat cheese. I'm not vegan. I do eat cheese still. So again, it's kind of turned into more just cut out the heavy meats.
Yeah.
And that's all my rule is at this point. But if I want to go hard into it, I guess that's when I start, looking at it every day.
Did it help your hair?
I think
just as a girl, I had to ask.
No, I don't do anything. I'm not the best with my hair. I try to just not blow dry it or hit it with a towel.
Yeah.
And then it's curly, so it gets kind of tangled.
Yeah.
I don't really, I don't know that much. I wash it and
Say the nutrients from your diet like
Yeah.
pushing out.
It still grows.
Yeah.
Like it all grows. It hasn't ever stopped growing. I've gotten like 2 or 3 cuts. So.
That's a good sign then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty long when it's wet.
Are you, so you're still working out. What does your workout schedule look like now?
So now I work out in the mornings. Kind of gets my day going. It focuses me up. I think that's kind of where I use my workouts now, is kind of like my time to think and to relax, to be honest. And I try to get my day kind of planned out and set up. I wake up early in the mornings, kind of either chill outside and kind of try to meditate or kind of read in the Bible, and then I get the day going, hit the gym, get showered and get going. That's kind of what the gym holds for me right now. And again, it's kind of been nice because I started when I was 14 or whatever, again, completely wrong, chest every day. And then kind of as time went on, got more advanced, then I figured out how to work out the different muscle groups and kind of did it again. Then still for football, but after football, then it kind of became more of a get swole for the looks kind of thing. And then now it's more just like a peaceful place for me that I can go work out. Kind of that's my time to think and chill and relax. So
Are you working out every day of the week?
I try to work out 5 or 6 times,
How long are your workouts?
about an hour. And so
That's pretty good.
I try to get in the gym and just do something every day. It doesn't have to be, the consistency is almost the most important. Some days I might get up there and stretch, or, I was doing yoga for a little while. I like to get back in that. There's just, my schedule doesn't, excuse me.
You're good.
my schedule doesn't fit with the times.
Yeah.
And so I think I like that stuff too. Like maybe switching a workout for like a yoga session, or switching it out for like playing a sport or doing something just to get active. But I think being active for that hour every day kickstarts your metabolism, kind of gets everything going. So, and for me, it's like a mental thing too.
Yeah.
It like clears my mind, and if I don't get my workout, I'm kind of like
Like you have
feel
pent up
off.
energy.
Yeah. The hardest part for me nowadays is if I travel at all, how to stay consistent with it. And like I'll try to jog and stuff, but that's hard.
Yeah. So let's get into what, out of your entire life, what is the one thing that you're like, I'm proud of this?
I think I was kind of touching on it earlier. I don't know if I hit it exactly, but it was just, faith has actually become real important to me in this last probably 4 years, I think, is when I really started, getting into reading the Bible and kind of learning about what true faith looks like. I found a couple mentors that really, have a good take on it versus growing up. I grew up in Dallas, and it was, I'm not going to say anything about the whole city of Dallas, but a lot of the people that I saw that were going to church or that were involved in the church scene, they were just walking into the wall, kind of just doing the same thing over and over, not really practicing what they preach. And so I think that's kind of been my biggest thing, was that through this process, a lot of times if you have success in business or you have success in life, you just keep running for more. Like you're looking for more success. You want to just keep piling on top of each other. And that doesn't mean I don't want to keep going. I told you I want to keep doing business things. But I've learned through all this that like all that stuff is so temporary, for real. And what that means is just, if it's temporary, it can give you temporary pleasures, and there'll always be people that have more. So there'll always be a goal to attain, and peace is not found in that like chasing of anything. And so you have to like set your sights on something larger. And for me, it's Jesus Christ. He's the way he lived his life, the way the Bible teaches the different situations. I see it all over. So I work with a lot of people, and I hear about their problems. Obviously, like through COVID, I was, half a counselor in some of these situations. People were telling me what's going on in their business and what's going on in life, and so I just kind of would see the verses over life kind of like this, and it was very interesting to me coming from a background where I almost thought that stuff was a joke, and so. And I'm not saying by any means I'm just walking it all perfect, but I think out in San Angelo we have a great opportunity to attain like a real faith and be able to practice it in a truthful manner out here. So that's kind of getting my faith in this time where I was able to again kind of push the world away. Society pushes us always. It's always there's like a pressure in our back to keep moving forward and to really keep like just on to the next. What's the next thing you're gonna do? But I think I've been able to in this time like find that, and I think that's again probably my biggest accomplishment. My wife, she's a big like she showed me how to like love and what that means and kind of how that can stay steady through all kinds of things, and it was a long process, and it's not over. I think that's what I've learned too is a lot of people think when you get baptized or you go to church or you become a Christian or whatever, like, okay, it's done. I'm good now. But like what I've learned is that's when you really start working at it. Like the real understanding is that now it's going to be a process for the rest of your life. You're going to see the bad things you do in your life, and you got to turn away from that constantly. Because as you come, you learn more, and I think that's kind of my thing.
That was so beautiful.
Thank you. I try to put it. I'm very layman's terms guy, bro talk and stuff. So I think that's what's. I talk to people sometimes about like the parable of the sower. They throw in the seed. Some falls on rocky ground, gets burnt up. Some gets taken away by birds. Some gets caught, or it comes up, and then the worries of life kind of choke it away. But I think I've hit them all. Like I've been every seed in that parable. So it's like I've seen it come and go away fast, get choked away by life, get burnt up quick. And so like for me, I don't know. I've really come to it in a layman man's terms, and I like to try to put that into a lot of stuff I do now.
I'm actually like speechless right now, to be honest with you. It was so good. So let's flip the switch.
Okay.
So we just talked about like your biggest achievement. What is your biggest struggle right now?
Biggest struggle right now. Pretty much, 32, there's like phases of life. When you're young, everything is just completely set in stone for you. You're doing all that stuff. When you come out of college, you usually have some goal that you're shooting for with all your heart. And then now it's kind of just, probably my biggest struggle is just, I don't know, kind of what that next, like, phase of life is going to be like. I think I'm going to be coming into having kids soon. I don't have that right now, but kind of what that looks like. Whereas, like, in the past, I always thought, get a business, like, do all this stuff. And I tell people, I've achieved a lot of the goals that I had set out when I was, like, young. And so, and I mean, I'm not trying to say that to, like, brag. It's kind of more like, oh, what do you do now once you achieve some of the stuff? Like, you need to dream bigger type stuff. And so where to go with that next, and how to get there consistently. And kind of make that work functionality. So I think that's what my biggest struggle is right now. I still deal with just all the classic things. Like, everybody thinks once you start a couple businesses, you're gonna have all the money you need and all this stuff. But it's not always like, there's ups and downs in everybody's life. I think it's like how you handle that is important. So keeping my mindset right, staying positive all the time. That's kind of what I try to stick to. And so just trying to find my place and all that stuff, really, which is kind of a confusing struggle, but I don't know. I think a lot of people might struggle with something like that. But I'd say dream big, learn what that goal is that you have and what people have done to get there, and then just, work hard, stay positive, go at it. So.
Wow. That one was beautiful too. You guys, we are going to take a commercial break, and I'm going to let you guys think about everything he just said. We'll be back soon.
Hey y'all, I'm Stephen Hambright,
And I'm Ashley Hambright.
and we're the Hambright Team Realtors with Coldwell Banker Legacy.
Welcome home. We know you have a lot of choices when it comes to selecting a realtor, so we want to tell you a little bit about us and why the Hambright team would be the perfect fit to help you buy or sell your next home.
First of all, we're a lot of fun.
Stephen, nobody cares about that.
Well, it doesn't hurt.
But really, it's important to have a realtor that's knowledgeable about market conditions in your area, available inventory that meets your needs, and of course, having an agent that's experienced in guiding you through the entire process of buying and selling a home from start to finish.
Coldwell Banker Legacy is a great company with an incredible history and reputation. We are continuously provided with so much support, whether that is professional development or better ways we can assist our clients in reaching their goals.
And we know buying a home is a huge moment in people's lives, so being chosen to be part of that journey is such an honor, especially in San Angelo. We strive to do whatever it takes to help our clients find the perfect home.
As realtors, our clients are the reason for everything we do. Listening to a client's needs and requests, being available for questions, and making sure they're treated the same way we would like to treat our friends and family are among the top priorities for us.
We're parents, we work full-time, we volunteer in the community, we understand crazy lives, so we know life can be messy.
But buying or selling a house doesn't have to be. Call the Hambright team.
What would you do with an extra 60 minutes in your day? Do you go for a walk? Do you pick up the weights? Maybe you even help a friend. There are 1,440 minutes in a day. Here at Fitness 1440, we believe in making every minute count. Spend some of those minutes here with us on our turf zone, in our free weights area, the cold plunge, the sauna, and personalized small group fit classes because we are open 24/7. Fitness 1440 is family owned, which means you are giving back to the San Angelo community when you spend time with us. Our members are like family here, and we take pride in our cleanliness. Use code 1445 to receive your first month free and join the Fitness 1440 community today. That's 1440 FIBES. And don't forget to make every minute count.
And we are back. We are going to get into our gym bag segment, so if you will pull that around.
Cool. So actually, this is my only gym bag I've ever had. My mom got it for me for my birthday.
Oh, how long have you had this gym bag?
I've had it a long time, like 5 or 6 years. So it's kind of a long time.
Is it, okay, so you've had it for a long time. Are there any holes in it?
No, it's actually held up surprisingly well. You know, I thought it would break down, and I've gotten offers to get a couple different gym bags, and I was like, it's not broken, so like I don't need a new one yet, and so I kind of like it.
Actually, very surprising.
I use it like every day
none of the corners
too.
are busted.
Yeah. I don't know how, to be honest.
Wow.
So.
Okay, so do you have snacks in your bag?
I don't keep snacks.
No.
I do keep. What is this? I got the little Karma drinks. Have you ever had one of these?
No, what is that?
This is something I picked up during my workout. I try to stay. I'm not saying I don't do pre-workout. I do try to do pre-workout sometimes, but probiotic water. So it's kind of like it has a little. You like open this little top, and then you like push it down, and then you like shake it up. We sell these at the bodega, so that's what I started getting these because I thought it was healthy. It kind of gives you a little focus, And then, I guess it got 2 billion cultures. It has a bunch of vitamins in it. Got B12, B6, like some random stuff. So this kind of helps me. It's kind of like an energy drink, but it's more like not as much energy, a little bit more focus.
What's the flavor?
This one I think is like peach
Taste,
lemonade.
Does it taste okay?
They're all different. Everyone has one they like better, but I kind of like the peach lemonade. There's a blue one. I like the blue one. So, but yeah, no, it tastes good. It doesn't taste like chalky or really anything. It just kind of tastes like a Crystal Light package of water or whatever. So.
I usually ask this, but you probably don't have this in your bag, but do you have protein in your bag?
I don't have protein.
No. All right. Do you have a favorite thing in your bag?
Oh yeah, today I do. So this would be what I would put on after my workout. I don't know. Do you keep up with basketball?
I don't, but I know people that listen that do.
So we got Luka Doncic. It's his jersey. So they play tonight. It's the Western Conference Finals.
Oh.
So we're up 3-0. Again, I'm from Dallas, so I do kind of hold on to some of that sports stuff. But,
yeah.
So I'm going to throw this on tonight and go watch the game. It's kind of
Alright.
like, this is probably my favorite thing in my bag right now, actually.
Okay, so your episode will be out way after they play, but what is your prediction? Do you think they'll win?
They're going to win the Western Conference, but they're going to be in the finals. And they're going to play Boston. Boston's pretty good. They've been there 2 out of the last 3 years. They're hungry. Yeah, I'll go ahead and predict a win, probably like in 6 games, probably.
I'm going to pop it up on the screen. They won. They didn't win.
Okay, yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, no, we'll see. I think I got all the rookie cards of Luka Doncic, and I named my dog Luka.
Oh.
And so I really he's from Slovenia, and he was MVP of the European League at 17. So I was like, oh, this dude's gonna be good, and he has followed through. So I think I don't know. I like basketball.
Yeah.
I love football, but the best basketball game in the world is probably the best, most entertaining sports event for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
We each have our own. You could put me in a gymnastics gym and a gymnastics meet, and I'd be like, this is the best sport ever.
Okay, that's fun. Yeah, what's your favorite event?
My favorite event, I love floor. I love watching them do floor.
I like those double bars, I guess, and during the Olympics.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. Rip your rotator cuff.
Yeah, it's pretty scary what they do. I used to do gymnastics, but nowhere near what you see on TV.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing what some people can just push their bodies through.
That's fun. Yeah, that's what I've never done it. I was a little too big, but
yeah. All right. So, what else do you have in your gym bag?
I guess I got. Let me see. I have most of my workout gear, so I don't know. Do you know what the shoebox is?
No, I don't.
Little shoebox shorts. It's
Oh.
a local place that sells kind of high-end shoes or
Wait,
streetwear shoes.
is that on Beauregard?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or I think it's Sherwood, but yeah, it's right there, right across from Henry's.
Okay.
It's kind of in the little spot. So we got that. We got a bodega shirt. I like to work out in just whatever t-shirts kind of laying around. So this is a little shirt. Let me see. I got headphones, obviously. Got a little towel. Got a big man towel. So this is if you're a big guy, you get a little sweaty, gotta get your own sweat off sometimes. But I got this book. I've been reading Day Trading Attention.
All right.
It's Gary Vaynerchuk's newest book. So I think that's kind of something new to read. I like to try to stay up. Do you do much reading or?
I had a goal to read, I can't remember how many books last year. I think I ended up reading 15 or 16, but
That's about
I've been slacking for 2024. I've just been putting my effort into other things, but I sew and I quilt and I'm crafty, and the cross stitching has just taken it.
That's cool.
Taken that time slot.
No,
So.
I saw you finish that quilt the other day. been like 2 years?
Yes.
That's wild.
Yes. My best friend of 10 years, he's getting married. And
Okay.
we bought fabric a long time ago. And
Yeah.
I just started a range of other things and put it to the side and pulled it out. And I was like, okay, this is going to be done before your wedding. And he gets married this weekend, and I got it done last week. So
It's cool. Yeah, my wife sews. I was showing
Oh,
her.
really?
Actually, yeah, she does a little sewn and grown. Is her. She likes plants and she likes sewing. So she did. She picked up during COVID. Did some. She did the masks, and then now we do. She does dog bandanas. She has a little like. She makes little bags. She does quilts and baby blankets.
that's
and
so cool.
Yeah, so she does a lot of like Rifle Paper Company designs and kind of like tries to modernize some of the prints and stuff. So I'm pretty familiar with sewing and sewing machines and the time.
It's
the
coming
hours.
back slowly, like the old school,
Yeah,
but in a more modernized way.
right.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty cool. It's fun.
Yeah.
I like the sewing. I like the blankets and stuff. I use
Yeah.
them. So
All right, we are going to get into some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Just first thing that comes to mind.
got ADHD, so I'll see how this rolls out.
We've already kind of talked about this, but how much protein do you eat a day? Do you know?
Probably 120, 140 grams of protein a day.
That's actually still quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still pretty heavy though. I sit around 240, so
Yeah,
it's probably half of what they say.
yeah. Do you, if you take pre-workout, what pre-workout do you take?
I take, I either take Hulk. It's from Maximus Nutrition or C4. So I think C4. It's kind of changed over the years, but that's the one I first started on. So.
What is your favorite lift or exercise?
Favorite lift or exercise? I think I like the stair climber a lot.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if that one counts as
It
a
does.
lift.
it's an exercise.
Or I like the. Have you ever done the Arnold shoulders?
That's been a long time.
I like those because it's kind of like fun. It's pretty tough. I think you see good results where you kind of keep them in there and then go up. So
Yeah.
I like that. I like dumbbells a lot.
Are
so
you
that
laying down or seated? Or
seated and then sometimes standing. So I like a lot of dumbbell exercises where you're having to control it versus just pushing the weight up. I try to not go too heavy on weights as I used to. So
Are you more of like a higher rep, lower weight person, or are you?
yeah, I have been recently, but I have been adding more weight because I try to have like a cap. Like I'm not gonna go above this weight. There's no reason to nowadays. So once I get there, then I just expand the reps out and then kind of switch up the
Yeah.
exercise.
Do you have a least favorite lift or exercise?
Least favorite? No, I like a lot of it. I don't like lunges.
Yeah.
I do them, but like I think I have a bad back, so I always got to be careful. And a couple years ago, I did a back lunge, so I step back.
Yeah.
Something popped, and I wasn't able to work out. It's like a sciatic nerve attack,
Oh.
and I was feeling it in my knee and stuff. So like, I've had a weird relationship with lunges since then. I still do them because it's probably one of the better exercises for you, but yeah, lunges. I don't. I get nervous
Yeah.
honestly doing them. So
Yeah. Well, just be like, hey, watch me.
okay, yeah.
Okay. So, what is something you eat every single day?
Every single day.
Is there something you eat or drink every day?
Probably, I do a lot of almond butter.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite.
Just spoonfuls.
No, I'll just do a quick sandwich. No jelly, just almond butter on some bread.
The good old days.
yeah. No, it's like kind of, but it's just easy. It kind of fits in that, the no protein or like the no meats, but it helps me get some protein in, and so it travels well. So
Yeah.
almond butter, tastier than peanut butter for
Yeah,
me.
I don't know.
You don't like almond butter? Or?
I have a friend, her son is allergic to peanuts.
Okay.
And so actually, wait, not almond butter. She does sunflower butter.
Okay.
Have you tried sunflower butter?
I think I have, but maybe
It
just
just
like
tastes
at the
different.
HEB and the
Yeah.
little like.
Yeah, I am straight peanut butter.
Okay.
What is something you do intentionally every day?
I try to like sit in a chair and have no technology, no real goal, and just kind of sit there and think and enjoy and think about the day and what's gonna happen. So I try to pretty much have like quiet time for 15 minutes every day, and if I can get outside and do it, it's a little hot sometimes.
Mornings or nights?
In the mornings.
Mornings, yeah.
Yeah.
What time do you wake up?
I wake up at 6:30. That's my alarm set. So
All right. We just talked about a book, but are you reading anything else other than that book?
I'm reading Daytime Attention. There's a book, Traction. I'm reading. It's about business, and then I try to pick up a different book. I usually just ask people what they're reading and kind of get a feel for whatever is going on. I try to read consistently, but it's hard because I like nonfiction. So if you go through a full day of business and mind grueling stuff and dealing with problems, and then you get home and you're about to go to sleep, sometimes it's hard to pull out a nonfiction book. So I do the audiobooks too when I'm driving around, so I like that. But yeah, Traction and then Day Trading Attention right now.
What is the best book or audiobook you've read or listened to over the last few months? Maybe even year.
I don't want to do cliche, but I listen to the Bible all the time. It's like the best way to listen to it. It's kind of naturally. In the past, people couldn't read, so like listening to sermons and stuff kind of comes out of that. You hear it, and then you can understand it. So listening to the Bible verses was how I was able to kind of first pick that up. So that's kind of my go-to a lot. What was it? Is the one with the turned over house. It's about faith. I think it's called Radical. Have you ever heard of it?
I've never heard of it.
It's kind of just about taking your faith back from the American dream. So it's kind of like it shows how the American dream is it leads you to different places than maybe you should always go to. Like focus. It gives you a way to focus, to try to attain your goals, but to then focus. And then the E-Hero's Journey, actually a local guy wrote that. Yeah, Brandon Moore is his name, and so he wrote a book. It's kind of just about how the entrepreneur's journey is, just the different aspects of it, and it's kind of like it gives you a good way to communicate what entrepreneurship is like. It's kind of what I took from it, and so he was a local CPA. He owns a lot of property, and again, it's kind of cool because I'm in like a lunch group that we meet up every couple weeks, and he'll come and we get to ask him questions directly from him. So yeah, the E-Hero's Journey is pretty cool. He kind of wrote it based off of The Hero with 1,000 Faces. Have you ever read that book?
I've heard of it.
It's really good. And so he kind of based it off that schematic, which is it's just like the hero's journey, and he kind of enlightened it to entrepreneurship. So pretty cool.
I think you brought up that 1,000 Faces one to me one time.
Yeah.
I can't remember why, but I don't know.
It was the book that George Lucas read before he wrote Star Wars.
Yes.
So it's kind of just, it teaches you how to like what characters or like what, storytelling has been around for thousands of years, and so it's woven into everything we do, from doing a podcast to selling a product. And so it's like people need to be better storytellers, and as we get farther away from interacting in that manner, you know, a lot of over the computer, a lot of different stuff like that, it's a skill that's kind of getting lost. And so I think it's always good to go back to basics.
Yeah. Now I have to go listen to that book.
It's good.
All right. If you were to own your own gym,
Yep.
what is the number one must-have for you?
Number one must have basketball court, actually.
Yeah?
I think it's a lost, not a lot of gyms have basketball courts anymore, but that's like what I loved about the gym growing up, was going and playing basketball as a youngin and kind of getting to interact, because then you get to interact with other people in the gym. Like, you know, when you're junior high, high school, you're getting to play against older dudes and getting to get your skills up. And so, that's a weird one, but a basketball gym would actually be my number one thing.
My husband would agree.
And it's just nice, you know, you can get a workout in there. You know, playing pickup ball is, again, another one of those things. It's kind of just like, you don't see it as much, and maybe that's just out in West Texas. I guess we don't have a lot of basketball gyms out here. I know we have a couple, but it's usually like I don't know, it's too hot to be outside. So I think
Yeah.
I don't know, that's what I think
Yeah.
would be my number one thing.
That's a cool one. If you could give anybody in the world, whether you know them, maybe they're a stranger, somebody close to you, honorable mention, who would it be and why?
I'd probably give a shout out to my business partner, Carson Beavers. He's about to get married here in about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or I guess it'll be like right as the show's coming out. And he's just been like, you know, I'm getting my speech built for his wedding and kind of thinking about all the stuff we've been through and like how you can even stay friends with somebody for that long and like keep getting excited, but he keeps pushing me to be better. And he's kind of spearheading some of our new business ventures, and it's just inspiring to have good friends around you. So like, I want to give him a shout out, because like, I think that's what it's all about for me. It's like having people around you that keep inspiring you, and if there's someone that can be around you forever and keep inspiring you the whole time, like, that's, you know, priceless.
Yeah, it's
So,
amazing.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people get that too.
Right. No, I'm very, very lucky to have like the people around me that I have, and I think that's what's so cool about life in general. I don't think everybody gets to have that, but also I think if you look for it, you can find it, and it's just about kind of being vulnerable. And, you know, luckily I got to do it when I was younger.
Yeah.
It's a little bit harder to do later in life, but I've held on to those guys, so that's
Yeah.
important for me.
If you had an extra 60 minutes in your day, what would you choose to do with it?
Extra 60 minutes. I don't know. Probably chill. Maybe just kind of like decompress. I think I'm always going. I think everybody is going all the time, and I don't know. Maybe just chill, and I'd probably try to plan the day out.
Yeah.
And I know I kind of do that, but if I had an extra 60 minutes, I'd probably be even a better planner. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I miss out on sometimes, is planning that out at a certain level of detail. And so probably just chill, honestly.
All right, I have one more question for you.
Yep.
If you could give advice to anybody that's out there listening, what advice would you give?
To anybody out there
Yeah,
about
let's
business, about
Just what is the best advice you have to offer?
to stay positive, probably. So I think, you know, life throws a lot of curveballs and has a lot of issues, and in our society, a lot of people feel it looks really good. A lot of things look really good. People make their lives look really good, but everybody's going through tough times. And so I think staying positive in any situation helps you find opportunities that can get you either out of it or help you learn from it. And so really staying positive, and not just like, not fake positive, but really trying to find the silver lining of the good in any situation is pretty much paramount to anything that you do. Like, you can take that into any situation, because I think that that's what gets people messed up a lot, is they go down the bad path, or they don't focus on the good things or how they could learn from the situation. So be positive, learn from anything negative that happens, or be positive and, thankful for whatever's good's going on. And then you're going to appreciate life a lot more and not kind of be jaded or kind of get hardened off of whatever comes your way.
Kapow. Solid advice. Do you have any last words?
No, I don't know. Come check us out at the bodega. Order San Angelo to go, and really just support local stuff, because I think that's what people get caught up in, the big flashy things that big businesses are, the coolest new thing. But the local people in your community are the ones who've set up the future and set up the structure, so going into the future, and get involved and stuff. I think, people say they don't see it have a lot of meaning or a lot of purpose, but if you get involved in local stuff, you're going to meet people that are going to keep inspiring you. And I think that's huge for me. I always am meeting people that are giving me ideas and keeping pushing me into the future. And I think that's what a lot of people don't have nowadays. And it's getting harder and harder because of the way technology is and the way just interactions are and what people want to focus on. So I think, get involved in your local community, do some nonprofit work, just, support the local people and try to strive to find your place in that.
Yeah. Where can people find you guys?
SanAngeloToGo.com. We have a new media source coming out called the San Angelo Localist. People want to check it out. College Hills Bodega is the physical location. It's going to be 2843 College Hills Boulevard. And so besides that, we're going to be putting out little funny videos, and I think just getting more involved in that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing it. I think you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for being a guest, too.
For sure.
All right, you guys, that was my episode with Preston, and make sure you download, like, and subscribe. Leave us a review if you would like. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Have a beautiful day, friends. Bye.